Most of the commanders you get in HQ conflict are just, well, bad. And it's not because they can't shoot, it's not because they can't read a map or give out commands. It's because they don't understand what the commander role actually does. Today, I'm gonna show you how to be the type of commander that squads actually listen to. That and teaching you all the buttons and how to actually become the commander himself. I'm Damage Dealer, this is Damaged Out Gaming, and let's get right into it. To get a better understanding, I think it always helps to kind of explain what the job actually is and what it does before we go into the nitty-gritties of how to actually perform that. And the first mistake I think everyone makes as the commander is you are not the boss. You're not the guy that is supposed to be barking orders at people and, hey, you need to move here, you need to do that. That you can do that, it's not going to help, but that's not what it's for. You actually win by controlling the flow of the battlefield. So think of yourself less like a general or commander and more like a traffic controller. Like you're kind of guiding people to go here, you're moving supplies here, you're putting a base in a spot where it doesn't normally go. And if you're not doing this, well, the planes are going to crash and the entire team is going to feel it. Now, you know how I am. I like to get straight into things. So let me show you how to go about doing this, and everything else can be self-taught. But here are the basics. Okay, so if you ever want to become commander, what you're going to do is you're going to walk up here right to the sign and see it says volunteer for commander role. You're going to hold that, whatever button it is for you. It's that for me. See up in the top right corner up there? Says damage has been promoted to group leader. Then it says damage dealer is now the faction commander. Now, normally I wouldn't just automatically get this, but since I'm in a session to show you, there's nobody else in this session right now. So it's just me. Normally what would happen is that goes up for a vote and everyone votes on whether or not they want you as their commander. So you're gonna get inside lobbies that don't have commanders, and if you want to try and become the commander, you can, but everyone has to vote you in as the commander. Now, as the commander, there are 3 different things we're gonna be looking at. One is logistics. The second one is the operations table. And the third is combat support. So let's take a look at logistics and see what we can do with it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go over here to logistics, click on this. And now remember how I told you it was important on how much supplies a base had? Like right here, you can see how many supplies that has. And we can open the logistics on it. Supply limit is set to the max. Over here, set to 10,000. So what we want to do is, it's already made priority number 1. We'll make this base priority number 1 to have filled with supplies, right? And maybe this is like the last priority. Obviously, being our main base, it would be. We could also, let me close this. We just took this base. We can actually make this base. Let's make this our new priority number 1. Okay, and we'll make this one priority number 2. And then this one is 3. So now when the AI get an assignment, the very first base they'll run to is priority number 1 right here. To even start with the AI, you're going to need AI. So what you're going to have to do is walk over here to the operations table, hit the operations. You can go here and hit start building since we are at this base, okay? And then what you want to do is you're going to want to build them a truck, a supply truck. So just hit the truck symbol, spawn one in. Now you're going to need some AI to drive that truck. So you're going to come here, see how it says logistics team. You're going to select them, click on that, and just put them anywhere next to the truck. I like to put them close to it so that way they don't get confused. And put them down, and now you're ready for the next step. So now that you've spawned in your AI, now just go back to character. Back to character again, I guess you have to hit it twice. Leave this board, and I want you to go right back over here to logistics. And how do you do that? How do you make them run that? Well, if you come over here and you click on this little symbol here, this is all the guys that you have right now that are logistics teams. And it tells you kind of what they're doing. This is the one I do believe we just put down. They're brand new. Now, where do we want them to get their supplies from? Well, right here is a supply station at Indiana. So what you do is you come over here and set it to Point Indiana. Now, anytime that the supplies are lower, which we're going to set the max supply limit. See, right now, they won't run supplies to it because it says that don't run supplies as long as it's under 5,222, or over, I should say, over that. So we're just going to max this up to about 10,000. We'll escape that. And these guys should start running logistics over there. And we'll go back to operations. We'll get a view. The start building will give you kind of a view. And these guys should start running supplies now. If it was them, if it is that team that I just assigned, they should start running the supplies from, they'll go from here and they'll go to Indiana, and then they'll run the supplies up to that very first base. Now, just to make sure that it was the right one, I'm going to set every single one of them to go to there. So to do that, you need to exit out all this again and go back to logistics. Click on your logistics teams and make sure all of them are running. See, that one, they were running to Point New York right now. Right now they're doing it. And what we want to do is Point Indiana. I'm going to run them to all to Point Indiana. There. Now all our logistics teams will be getting supplies from Point Indiana. You can hear them moving right now, actually. And we'll take a look at this. And there they go. There goes your AI. There goes this AI also, who is running that supply truck that was already filled. And they're going to hop inside that and take it to priority number 1. If priority number 1 is filled, they will run it to priority number 2. It just depends on what you have set. Now, like I said, to do that, you don't want to be on this operation screen. You want to go here. And now, whenever you come look at this also, you see priority number 1, like we said, is up here. It looks like that's where they're resupplying. That's where they're headed right now. And as you can see, it's low compared to it wants to be at 10,000. So their first priority, that's where they're going to run to. Where are they going to get it from? Well, we have it set for them to go to Point Indiana. So what they're going to do is they're going to go from here. They're going to go down to Point Indiana to actually grab supplies, besides the one that's full, and run it all the way up to this one and dump supplies here. Now, if this was filled, or it was at its max, like we showed here, then they will run it to priority number 2. They'll take this one. This one's full also, but if it was low, they would go to priority number 2. And that is how you get AI to run supplies for you. You can also do the same thing if one of these are an actual player, like a team of actual players. You can just tell them where you want them to get their sources from and what bases should be a priority. The next thing I want you to take a look at is right over here, and it's combat support. And when you click on this, it doesn't really tell you anything except saying combat support up at the top up there. But what you want to do from here is, like, let's say we're having a hard time pushing base levy, right? And we need a base that's a lot closer than Wyoming. Well, what you can do is go up here, and I'm not sure what button it'd be for you, but for me, it's the right click on the mouse, right? And you can say support request here, right? Now look at all these options. You have repair. Maybe a vehicle needs repaired and you're telling the squad to go repair. Reinforce, just bringing up AI and regular people to reinforce that area. Or a rearm. But right here is the most important one. Establish base. This is how you're going to see those bases that get built right down the road from a supply line. This is how they go about doing that thing. So you would hit establish base, support request. Notice that this is green right now, but watch what happens when I try to move it towards base levy. You see how that's red? I can't try to build a base anywhere around this. Same goes for a supply station. If you're wondering why you can't build it right on, it's because it won't let you. You actually have to go quite a ways away to be able to build that base. So let's just say we wanted one close to a supply route like this. You would have to get it as close as you could. And I wouldn't recommend putting it right on the road. So maybe off in this field, you wanted to put a base somewhere off here, or maybe just right over here. Click on your left and that just gave somebody a request to go build this. Now you can build this as a squad leader. Anybody can go establish this. What you're going to need for this is a construction truck. Now these things can help you build like the main base up that we just established there, and they can also carry about 800 supplies, so that way you can get that done. I do believe in vanilla servers you can actually build like a main base, plus you can also build a radio tower. That thing that we did right there, squad leaders of a squad can also request from me, the commander, to put a base down somewhere along those lines, and all I have to do is go over and accept that request. After I accept it, it's up to them to go and build it if they want to, or have the supplies whenever they can get to it. Your job is to just accept the request. This is where it becomes important in communicating between commander and squad, where supplies are being ran and where the bases are being built. This is very important. Like I said before, you are the eyes of the battlefield. You are seeing exactly what is going on everywhere on here, and you're going to help guide these guys on where to go and maybe a better way of doing it. Now for those other support requests we were talking about. Let's say you want to reinforce something. So you hit reinforce. Now I'm selecting one of those squads, one of my assault or recon squads to do this. So let's say I select, well, it'd probably be my squad. So Atlas Red 2. See how I said to reinforce it there? Let's actually make a new mark, and let's say I really need reinforcements because they're taking over one of the supply areas. You click here, then you hit support requests, reinforce, select Atlas Red 2. Now that just told them to go and reinforce this area. It's almost like it's just giving them a command on where I need that squad specifically. I can also ask for support in this way. You can go to faction command, recon, the only recon squad we have, select it, and I'm telling them to get a lookout here. Okay, so I could have them looking over New York and we could see what's going on. That's another way to get a specific squad to do a specific job. Now I'm not going to lie to you, this is going to take a little time just to know what to click on. Like when you right click, let's say here, we'll just get rid of this one if it'll let me here. Okay, that's really odd. I should be able to get rid of that. There we go. So you just right click on it and then get rid of it. But you can also do things like this. I can put markers down just like anybody else could. I'm sure you guys have done that already. If not, I mean, it's just as simple as bringing this up, right clicking, and putting any marker that you want down. You can do a custom marker if you wanted to. You can do military markers. Okay, so if you wanted to say like there was a lot of AI in this area, you could use something like this and say exactly what it was. Put a timestamp on it even, or you can go to recon markers, which gives you these real quick. So like I said, they're all useful. This is really good for like minefields. It says minefields, but I like to use these when people set mines up on the roads. And see, it just sets it up like that. And then let's say they get deleted. Someone says, hey, I got rid of those mines on the road. You just simply go back up here and delete it. Or you can move it around too. You can actually move it around, so I could say there and someone says, hey, it's actually up north a little more, and you just bump it up there. And then you can get rid of it just like that. Right clicking again. Okay, now I want to show you one more thing. Right click, go to commanding, and you can also call for like artillery fire if you're a high enough rank. So let's say we needed some on New York and I already have some AI set. You can also build AI for artillery. Same thing we did with the logistics. You just set it up that way. And what you do is you could call in artillery fire. This can also be done manually. But if I wanted to, I could call in artillery, what type of artillery we wanted. So let's just say we want to smoke the place out. Click some smoke, even though, you know, hardly anyone uses it. 1, 10, 5, or 3. Now, just for the sake of learning here, I'm not a high enough rank to do this. You do have to get your rank up. So once it's high enough though, you can call this in. It's just not letting me because my rank is too low. You can see it pop up there. Your rank is too low. Required corporal, current private. So you don't even got to be that high of a rank. Now you would be if I wanted to call like these in. That you have to be a sergeant for. You want anything that blows up, you got to be a sergeant for it. Now illum, I think you have to be a corporal also. Yep, corporal. So like I said, you do have to gain some rank to do some of these things. Not a super high rank, but it does want you to get some experience in the game. So let's take a look at the operations board. Okay, now we're here. Now this is something I kind of want to show you guys right off the rip. When I'm looking here, if I go over top of the base we're at, and I know you've watched me do this in the other parts, but if I hit F down there to start building, I get an overview of everything here. Okay, and also if you'll notice, so let me show you the difference. You see all these right here? See all these tabs we have available? If you are just a regular player, so we'll exit out of this, the only thing you'll have is start building, which also zooms you out, but look at what you have available. Only 3 things available, okay? But as the commander, when you go to operations, pick the base that you're on, which we're at main operating base, hit start building, and you get a lot more options as the commander. I mean, there's AI, you can just spawn a vehicle if I wanted to. I mean, like I said, anything, as long as you're a high enough rank. You do still have to have the rank to spawn these things in, but this is how you go about doing that thing. So you can build up this base just like this. I mean, if I wanted to, I could literally just start stacking sandbags all around this thing. Somebody will still have to build them, but you can be the one to lay down all the blueprints at a base. The next thing I want to show you is when you're at this screen right here. Now let's just say, since we're at the main operating base, let's just say I want to see what's going on here at Brooklyn. All you have to do is go over this, hit start building, and look at that. We're all the way over here now at Brooklyn. And I can see exactly what's built over here. And we can go from base to base. So we change again. Let's go see what's going on up here on the front lines at Montanak. Start building. Let's see what's built at Montanak. And see, this is how you kind of get an overview on what's all at a base. Here it is. And I can see, look at that. I can see where these guys are. I can see exactly what they're doing at this base. And I can build anything that I wanted, honestly, as long as the supplies are here. You do have to make sure you still got the supplies. Maybe I could help them out, build the living quarters, make it a little cheaper. But this is how you can jump from base to base. It's just by simply going over it and hitting start building. Now, see, we just had to wait a while. If it does go out like that, just wait a while and you can click it. But this is how you jump from base to base to base to see what's going on at each one, see what they need, and so on and so forth. And remember I told you that you could have AI set up to run mortars? It'd be the same thing as the way I set up those supply guys with the transport. You know, you'd have to actually build the mortar pit, which is right here, which I don't have a high enough rank, but you'd build the mortar pit, then you get somebody that could run the mortar pit. You need to pick a team that can do that, okay? I'm pretty sure a lot of guys can just do it. Don't hold me to that because they change things all the time, but the last time I checked, I could have assault guys before. I could have them run that mortar pit. But either way, that's how you go about doing that stuff. You just come in here, set up the base how you want to, or, you know, at least put some things down, maybe help a team out if they're like, hey, we could use this here. You can at least just set the blueprint for it. Okay, so I've showed you operations, I've showed you combat support, and I've showed you logistics. I told you that to do any of this, you have to be at a command post, correct? Well, there is one more way that you can go about doing this stuff and still be close to your teammates out in the field on the front lines. Now, how do you do this? Well, by using the command truck. Now, these are only really useful for commanders because everything I just showed you, whether it be logistics, operations, or combat support, can all be done from this truck. Now, there is one little rule that they have with this truck, and that's you have to be within a certain proximity of a base you have taken. You can't go set this thing all the way up, you know, if the enemy's all the way up north, you can't go set the truck all the way up north and expect it to do its job. It has to be within range of one of your radio towers. Now, with all of that said, I think we're finally done here. There's nothing more I can really show you or teach you and not call it the basics. So I'm just going to give you what you have here, let you run with it, let you figure a few things out on your own. But for now, you at least have the basics. So hopefully you guys learned something from this today. Hopefully I taught you something, and hopefully you get to apply it in game. If you stuck around to the end of this video, please subscribe. And if you did, you're a goddamn legend. I appreciate you. Please leave a like if you can. It really does actually help me out quite a bit. So if you want this video to get shared to others and help them out too, that'd be great. With that said, I'm gonna catch you guys on the next video. Sorry this one took so long. It took a long time to make. I'll see you all on the next video. Later.
The noose it fits some losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip, you choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.